Okay, so this video is going to talk about the newest update of For Honor, and especially for the year of the Covenant. And they're gonna be year 5, and they're gonna release suspiciously now they're gonna release 2 new heroes. And so as I said before, I think the 2 new heroes will be a warrior monk for the samurai, and a Varanigard for the Vikings. And obviously I much more want to see 2 more Volins, because the Volin are the faction that have the least character of all the other factions, and the faction that have the most character in For Honor is the Knight faction, have the most. So I think the Volin absolutely most of all deserve 2 new heroes. And if in the Volin, then I absolutely want to see somebody with a heavy weapon, like iron hammer or some kind of polearm weapon, or something. But I don't want to see a sword again. I think the sword is so. Swords is good weapons, but it's much more interesting to see heavy weapons like axe, hammers, and polearm weapons. This looks much cooler. You can then you have more space, to do more cool things on them, like designs. So obviously, because we already have 3 characters in the Volin faction that have bladed weapons already, so I want to see a Volin with a heavy weapon, and 1 more Volin with a polearm weapon. Obviously, we have 3 Volin heroes with polearm weapons. If we get 1 more, and then we have 1 with only 1 in the Volin faction that have a heavy weapon that is like iron hammer or iron club. Because the Chinese warriors have also a similar weapon as Kinabu, but a little bit different. Lots of culture have iron heavy weapons used against armor and this kind of thing. So, but the problem here is that I want to see the Volin. Absolutely, I'm gonna be extremely happy if 2 new Volin come to the faction. But because of popularity, and because For Honor Ubisoft want money, and more people will buy a samurai than they want to buy a Volin. Absolutely, because when you play, especially if you play on PS4, or if you play, I think it's the same if you play on the computer, more people online will play as a samurai or a Viking or a knight than a Volin. Probably the Volin is the least popular faction for many people, for different reasons. I cannot say all the reasons, but they have different reasons. Probably because some of the reason is probably the samurai, the knight, and the Viking was the first in For Honor to be to play as in the game before the Marching Fire. So obviously more people from the older generation that play For Honor from the beginning, more of them was more hint to play this 3 faction before the 4th faction come into the frame, and this and so on. And obviously the hint here is here that we can see. For example, if you look here, you say Maiar, and Maiar we know in For Honor is the samurai's country in For Honor world, and we know here, and then we know see Assyri is the Vikings. And obviously that also give away a very good hint why probably will be a samurai, a Japanese warrior, and North warrior, is because of the 2 pictures here. The deer and the wave. And we know the first time ever a wave was painted was in Japan. And the deer is symbolized in Japan. They have many different, because of the mythical creature, and also have very power in China. But deer is also a very aesthetic animal, very powerful in this beauty and so on. So we can see a deer and a wave, Japanese, and we see a wolf and broken eyes, Viking. Yeah, but I always say I'm not as disappointed as I was when it was the first knight hero, because I really do not like knights. So I'm more happy that it's a Japanese warrior than a knight, and but I still will be more happy if it will be a Chinese warrior, because I like much more Chinese warrior in For Honor than I like the Japanese warriors in For Honor or the Viking. If I have to choose between a Viking and a samurai, I'm absolutely gonna go with the Viking. I really hope, if it's a Viking, if it's a samurai, I really hoping, especially for the Viking, that there will be a Varanigard, because the Varangians have very cool armors, and they have always, because of the influence of the Byzantine Empire. So I really hope for that, if this will be. That one thing more can also be is that it can absolutely also be a samurai warrior and a Wolin warrior, because the wolf can also symbolize a Mongolian warrior, because we know the Mongolian. And that time I forget, that time I think about it, because in the mythology about the Mongols is that a deer and a wolf get a child together, and that was the Mongols. So that is also possible, because we know that Kublai Khan attacked Japan. It's on the, I think, it's very bad in the year, but we know that Kublai Khan ordered attack on Japan. He was not there personally, and he have Chinese warriors, he have Korean warriors, and obviously the high-ranking officers was the Mongols. And we know from the mythology, the story was that there was a big wave, and the wave destroyed the Mongol the Mongol ships, and the second time, because the Japanese built some kind of wall to protect them, so it's hard for the Mongol to come into the land, because the Japanese learned from the first time that if the Mongol ride in with their horses on the beach, they will be totally the Mongol is sort of invincible, because they can just ride around and shoot their arrows. And they have much more advanced weapons, because they have grenades, and because they get influence from the Song dynasty, they have to conquer some years before, and this kind of thing. So absolutely, it can also be absolutely that but the problem here is that it's two heroes. It can absolutely be that the wolf is the Mongolian warrior, and the deer is the Japanese warrior. And I don't mean that in that sense that a Japanese warrior is a coward because they are deer. I mean that because the Japanese see the Mongols, the first time ever the Japanese meet the Mongols, as a big wolf, because everybody is afraid of the Mongols. There's a good reason why you're afraid of the Mongols. If you have a good sense, you're afraid of the Mongols, because they are a superpower, and they don't show mercy to people, do not respect them. And you have to be an extremely good warrior to fight against them. You have to even have the same tactics. The Mamelukes. The reason why the Mamelukes defeat the Mongols in Al-Jalut in I think in Egypt, I'll probably say it wrong now, in September, that's a hard number, but in September, the month was in September in Al-Jalut, because the Egyptian the Mamluk slave soldier ordered people from Russia, the Russians, especially the Cumans, and they because they have similar tactic with shooting arrows from horses, and they use saber sword, and they have a similar tactic as the Mongols. So lots of them also because the Mamluks have much longer training in the desert than the Mongols, so their horses was not as work as well for them in the desert, and that is the reason why. And obviously because the Mongol war machine was so big and so spread out, so the Mamelukes have much bigger chance defeat them and so on. So that can be absolute possibility here, that is the wolf is symbolized the Mongolian warrior, and because we don't have any mercenaries fully within, and it's absolutely possible they can have mercenary as a Mongol, and then the deer is Japanese warrior. It can be absolutely possible, and because we know that will not be any more knights, they have said it themselves. Ubisoft said themselves. There will be no more knights, especially in these two here will not be a knight. So that is absolutely possible. So the Mongolian, okay, I would say a Mongolian warrior will symbolize the wolf, and the deer is the Japanese warrior, or okay, this kind of thing. This is just hard to see. So the wolf and the wave is connected in some ways then, and the deer and the broken ice have symbolized. And it's still a problem. I mean, a wolf, a wave symbolize the Mongols, absolutely. I think, but the problem here is just that the deer. I don't know if there's still broken ice here. If it's gonna be a Mongolian warrior and a Viking warrior, but do not. Yeah. So so I changed my idea about it. Okay, I say a Mongolian warrior and Mongolian warrior and Varanigard to the Viking faction. So one mercenary for the Wolin and one one soldier for the Viking faction. And that is just my speculation. But if that is because of the symbolism of this kind of picture, but I can be absolutely wrong here. But this is just my speculation. Okay, that's probably everything I really want to say. Okay, and obviously before I sign off, I hope the Mongolian warrior have some kind of warrior mace weapon, because I want to see the Wulin with some heavy weapons. I absolutely hope that the Mongolian warrior have this kind of. If it's a Mongolian warrior, I want them to have some kind of heavy weapon, and this kind of thing. And so I really hope for that, because I cannot see any other picture with a wolf and a wave, because as I said before, Kublai Khan ordered an attack on Japan, and the ships were destroyed in the wave when they tried to attack Japan. And the wolf, the Mongolian is like Mongolian warrior is like a wolf hunting the sheeps. And yeah, so this is just my speculation. We have to just wait and see. Okay, bye.